So I've just finished my treatment on my left hip. Look at that. Frozen fat cells. That's quite typical. That red image. That will go over the neck. So we do this post-treatment massage to encourage inflammation. That's quite numb. It'll probably sting in a little bit, but that is just taking the handle off my left hip. I've just had that on for an hour. I've only done one hip at a time because it's a little bit tricky. It's a little bit tricky doing two when you're doing it yourself. Now it's going to be hard for you guys to see the results because you can see that a lot of that treatment is actually through there. You should be able to see it when I do before and afters when I've got my back to the camera. I've taken some photos beforehand, so I'll have to take them after, but I've just done this while I'm sitting here at the desk. Of course, if you came to us for treatment, we would put both handles on at the same time, but I'm in the clinic on my own today, so I decided I needed to do it. It takes 12 weeks to see your fat freezing results completely, or no, actually, it takes up to 12 weeks to see the maximum results, but we usually do start to see results as early as 2 to 3 weeks. I can try and show you in 2 to 3 weeks' time, but that's because it's relying on your body to process, first of all, identify that those fat cells have been damaged. Then your body needs to try and repair them, but it works out, okay, there's no point trying with those ones. Let's just get rid of them. So your lymphatic system, your macrophages come in and they chew up, or they gobble up, they surround the frozen fat cells that have been damaged, and then they will, Nicola, I've just taken the fat freezing treatment off my hip. I've only done one hip today because I can't put the handle on myself, two handles on myself at the same time. But I was just explaining that it takes, macrophages, so they're white blood cells, they'll come in and gobble up the damaged fat cells, take them through your lymphatic system, which is like a whole series of really, really, really tiny, fine vessels. So like almost like a vein. It actually runs adjacent to your veins, and they're all over your body, so that's your lymphatic system, and then it will take them into your liver and you'll process those damaged fat cells, and then those fat cells will be eliminated. And I'm just doing the post-treatment massage to stimulate the response, which stimulate the inflammation, so that'll probably get red hot, swollen and itchy over the next few days. By about day 7, that area should be back to about normal, and it doesn't look like I've bruised on there today, so that's good. And then the process of those fat cells will be, they will be eliminated over the next 12 weeks. We normally start to see results as early as 2 weeks, but it does take, the clinical evidence says that it takes up to 12 weeks to see your maximum results. So don't expect anything to happen too quickly, but we do start to see them earlier. So that, I don't know if you want to go, I've just recorded a live. I was just talking about putting this on a bit earlier. Oops. Sorry, dropped the phone. But that, oh my God, and again, is a treatment on my hips. I was just feeling a bit too chunky through there. So that's fat freezing. It's spot reduction. It works on your subcutaneous fat cells. Those fat cells that are gone in that area, well, when they go, they will be gone for good. It's not like a diet where every one of the fat cells across your entire body, or if you're in a calorie restriction, where they all shrink. This is spot treatment. When you diet, you don't spot reduce. You just reduce the size of all of the cells across your entire body. This is spot reduction, so those areas that piss you off the most, you can target. The clinical evidence shows a 26% reduction in the treated fat cells in the treated area. On average, so that means some people lose 50%, some people lose 2%. It's not an exact science, unfortunately, but we have been doing this since 2017, so it does work. We wouldn't be here if it didn't work. It's on average 26%, and that's from the clinical trials in 2010. But since then, the technology has improved, and so we believe it's like 30 to 40% of the fat cells in the treated area with every treatment. Hasn't been clinically proven. They didn't need to do another clinical trial to prove that, because clinical trials are incredibly expensive and difficult. I've just got to wipe the gel off the phone. Clinical trials are really expensive and difficult to conduct, particularly with something like fat freezing. So when they did the clinical trials, they assessed the area using an ultrasound, and the ultrasound showed that 26% reduction. But what they had to do, if you think about it, if they had 200 people in the clinical trial and they did a treatment, they'd have to measure the subcutaneous fat cells of all of the people. But then when they get to the 12-week mark, where they're doing the follow-up measurements, if people had put on weight, they had to be kicked out. And if people had lost weight, they had to be kicked out. Because if you've lost weight and they're trying to just look at the results from the fat freezing treatment, if you have lost 26% because of the fat freezing treatment, but then you've actually reduced the size of all of these fat cells, that would show a much greater result from the fat freezing treatment under the ultrasound than what was actually just because of the treatment. So they haven't done a clinical trial since they've improved the technology. It was just from the initial clinical trials. But fat freezing is for spot reduction. It only works on your subcutaneous fat cells. It doesn't work on your visceral fat. It's great because it doesn't have any negative impacts on your metabolism. A lot of the GLP-1s that are in the market at the moment are causing, well, I suppose there's so many issues with them. Lots of good positive things as well. Cardiovascular improvements, no doubt. Weight loss, no doubt. People don't have sleep apnea, cholesterol levels are down, triglyceride levels are down, cardiovascular, so blood pressure, everything, insulin resistance. There's so many good things about the GLP-1s, but then there's also the other side of it, which is bad, and that's muscle wasting, osteoporosis, osteopenia, continual ongoing costs, because once you're on it, the evidence is showing that if you stop the medication, your weight just, like massive weight gain afterwards. And a lot of that is because your metabolism has been mucked up by such massive rapid weight loss, and because you have lost so much muscle. I think 30%, 30% of the weight that you lose through the GLP-1s is muscle wasting, muscle loss, and that has that massive impact on your metabolism. So fat freezing won't do any of those things. It's a really good, safe treatment. It's just working on your subcutaneous fat layer, and that subcutaneous fat layer is the one that's on the outside of your abdominal wall, if you're looking at your tummy, but it's also under our skin, and that means, and that's the one that, if we can reduce that, then you fit into your jeans a little bit better, or your bra line doesn't bulge out as much, or your hips. So I hope that's helpful, but that was just me taking off the treatment. There is another live video that I did I finished about 10 minutes ago, where I talked through that as well. So hopefully that's helpful.